just even more obvious that the negotiations were a ruse. Witkoff would constantly move the goalposts every time Iran agreed to something. At first, the focus was on Iran enriching uranium to 60%. Long story short, 90% or more is needed for a nuclear weapon. So Witkoff asked Iran to return to the 3.5% enrichment threshold established by the previous JCPOA nuclear agreement with Obama. Iran agreed. But then Witkoff moved the goalposts and suggested that he actually wanted Iran to have zero enrichment. Now, Iran spent decades advancing their ability to enrich their own uranium with sophisticated centrifuges. So why would they want to agree to that? But then the goalposts moved again. Witkoff started asking Iran to get rid of their facilities altogether. Now, if you think that's a bad offer, wait, because there's more. Witkoff then asked Iran to get rid of their ballistic missiles program.
An existential threat to Israel, as does an Iran with a large amount of missiles. That is as big an existential threat as the nuclear threat. We must stand resolute and united against this danger, no matter what the cost.
The ballistic missiles are virtually Iran's only deterrent, as they don't have an advanced air force or nuclear weapons. The model for the deal that Benjamin Netanyahu asked Witkoff to implement was the so-called Libya model. Long story short, Libya announced it was voluntarily abandoning its nuclear weapons program on December 19, 2003. This decision was part of a larger rollback of Libya's weapons program, including chemical and biological weapons and long-range ballistic missiles. Well, we all know what happened to Libya and Gaddafi. In 2011, NATO militarily intervened in Libya by bombing the country and funding armed al-Qaeda proxies to overthrow Gaddafi. 6 months later, Gaddafi was sodomized to death on camera. As Hillary Clinton later put it, "We came, we saw, he died."
We came, we saw, he died.
14 years later, and Libya is still carved into pieces as the civil war rages on. Seeing the destruction of Libya, Syria, and Iraq, you can imagine that Iran wasn't really excited about this Libya model. So Witkoff was essentially asking Iran to destroy itself in the long term or go to war. It was an offer Iran could never accept, which is why I and many others were telling you that the negotiations were fake and that the war